I have a motion to adopt the agenda as is?
I make a motion to adopt the agenda the way it is.
I'll second it.
Okay, using unanimous consent, any opposed? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the approval of minutes for 3/9/21. Is there any discussion regarding the minutes? Questions, concerns, errors?
Right here. No.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda for 3/9/21?
I'll move
The
to adopt
minutes?
the agenda.
Or minutes?
Oh, you know what? Hold on. I did want to add one thing. I just realized. I think we should discuss where minutes and the bylaws and everything get stored going forward. Is there like an actual location
So they are supposed to be stored
on the
in
website?
Well, in the office, we've had a hard copy typically printed and saved.
Yeah.
Then as well, actually, I don't know if we ever did store them online. Did we?
We did not do them online, but it is one of my things that I'm working with also when we do the city council, the new draft that I have for the city council web that's going up. I'm working on both of them. The city council is actually going to show their agenda with the meeting, and I'm trying to set it up to where people can click on an item in the agenda and it jumped to chapters within the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So if they don't want to, sit through the whole 4 hours, they'll be like, hey, I'm here for this particular thing. Click. I'm working on that. I'm actually 3/4 of the way done with it, and I'm doing the same thing for Papa. So bear with me on that.
But as far as minutes go, I think it would be great to have some kind of folder that people could click on and pull up.
In the office, I know.
No, I mean a digital folder.
Yes, hold on. Let me finish.
Yeah, it'd be great if somebody could click on a folder and they could reference the past minutes, the past agendas, that is on our website.
I can set up a specific Google Drive for that.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, I'll do that.
We can discuss it in the new business, but I just wanted to add that.
Right.
So let's add that to new business post fact.
Yep.
Everyone agree?
Yep.
Okay. Please bear with me. I am going to be eating. I haven't eaten anything since 7 o'clock yesterday.
We hit Frugals last night, man, and I'm good for like 3 days.
No, we went to Wendy's.
All right.
Or Wendy's.
Okay, so we had a motion to adopt the agenda.
The minutes.
Or minutes, sorry.
I'll
Do
second.
we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Eric seconds. Using unanimous consent. All approve. Any opposed? Okay, so that passes. We move on to community comments, and it does not look like we have anyone in attendance from the community. So we will move on to the chair report. So as far as from the chair, I've been continuously going to the studio before and after my shifts. We've had quite a bit of people there overnight, but it's kind of dips and flows. Some nights we've had as much as like 6 people, and then we have a pretty long streak. And it's weird because you would think it would be based with the weather, but beautiful night out there, there's no one to be found. Crappy night out, all of a sudden there's anywhere from 1 to 6 people and vice versa. So I've been in touch with the police department quite a bit this last month. So as far as that, I have a schedule. Oh, sorry. I have put on my schedule to contact Corey since we are opening back up in phase 3. Hopefully won't be dropping down to phase 2, and hopefully we will be weaning off this whole COVID nightmare. And I'm trying to reestablish the parks or movie at the parks that we had started 2 years ago. We were originally supposed to get up to $5,000 from the Parks Department from Corey's budget allocated towards that to coincide with the day of play. So I'm going to be reaching out to him this week to try and see if we can get that back on track so we can plan to have one as long as everything stays the way that it's going. And that is it for now.
I'm just curious, like who runs that? How do you run it?
Are you referring to the
Movies
movie
in the
part?
park. Yeah.
So the movies was spearheaded by me 2 years ago, and we basically have everything to do an outdoor, because that's what it was, is outdoor and a canopy, and we had the TV because projector wouldn't work for us with how bright it is during the spring and summertime. So we just bought a huge, I think it was like 75 or 85 inch LED TV, and that's what we used. So it doesn't take but about 2.5 hours to set up and tear down, and everything is already readily available at the studio or at home.
Cool.
And then we coordinated that with Corey himself for the actual Day of Play event. So I'm trying to reestablish that at that same time and hopefully get one or two more after that, because I figure if we can get the one where we work together with the city going, then it'll be easier to then flow with several other ones. Okay, so any other questions, comments? Okay, so we will move on to the treasurer reports.
Okay. So if you look at our statement of activity, our revenue is we have $8,133.30 of uncategorized income. I believe that is the payments from the city quarterly. And then right now there is $11,671.22 in the bank. That is with the $16.63 that's in petty cash. All of the bills for this month are paid as far as I know. I haven't received the high-tech bill for this month yet, so I just went into the past bills and saw how much it was and went ahead and paid it that way. So barring anything else coming in, we should be good until next month when we have to make our first Telview payment. And they will be sending us the option to pay online, and we'll do it that way.
Does anyone have any questions, comments, or concerns for the Treasury report? Okay, seeing now.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Jeff.
On our Telview thing, how much is our payment?
Believe it's 1,500.
Okay.
Last month you said it was $1,250.
Is it 1,250? Okay. So we're gonna go with that because first of all, it's cheaper and I like the sound of that better.
Yeah.
Second of all, that's what I said. I'm not looking at the paperwork right now, so I was just spitballing.
Thank you.
But our first payment, they pushed off until the first of next month, so that was cool of them.
And Eric will double check his figure and make sure that we know the accurate payment number, and he'll send that out. Okay, so no further questions, comments, or concerns? Okay,
I'm
seeing
good for right now.
none, do I have a motion to accept the treasury report?
I'll make the motion. It's like the Treasury report.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay, using unanimous consent, all anyone. Sorry, flew down my throat. Using unanimous consent, do we have? Oh my
Anybody
god, I'm so
opposed?
tired. Anyone opposed? Having a brain fart moment, concentrating on food. Okay, seeing none, the motion passes, and we will move on to. So that's
Facilities report.
So facilities report. Darian, take it away.
Alrighty, so toilet's fixed. Well, replaced, and it's finally functional. So that was a fun multi-week project. That really shouldn't have been. All right, so beyond that, we've also got hand sanitizer all over the place now. Also, we're gonna have hand sanitizer dispensers that I'm gonna put up once we have the batteries for them. I think that's working.
Which will be ordered this week.
All right, cool.
Batteries for those will be ordered this week.
Getting any soap dispensers in the bathroom. because the one in there is pretty old, and new wall mounted one. Had someone come in to look at the lights, get all this switch out to LED in like the studio itself, also through the rest of the upstairs. I didn't think to take it downstairs, so that's on me. We do, however, have a water heater downstairs that is not hooked up. So there is a water heater in the building. It's just not hooked up to anything right now. There is space for it, though, that it's supposed to go. I'm not sure if it's still functional. But
I believe that it was not working correctly. That's why it was removed.
Yes, it is. The system doesn't allow the water to go through it. So,
all right. Well, that. Okay. So probably figure out, I guess, the size of the one to put it in from there, unless we just want to replace it all together and get something different. There's a spot where it's set up, so I'm not sure.
Who came in to look at the LED conversion?
That
Was our contractor?
Olympic Electric.
Electric. And so beyond that, I've talked about paint a couple times, and so there's been like kind of approved to get paint. Just one second. One of the things that we had talked about was that it's very bright in there, and since we have so many skylights, it would be good to go with something a little bit darker toned.
Yes.
So personally, I was thinking that just go with kind of dark grays, almost black, not white, for a few different areas. And I've got like a couple different highlights kind of between almond and nude tone that I think look really good. I'm not sure which combination would look best, but it's kind of muted, but also can still have some highlight in there, so it's not just plain dark walls. But that should probably help with it being so bright, because the light from skylight goes through the end. Yeah. So kind of keep that from being too overpowering. And also have a request for Sean's office to be purple. One of these purples. Also found a few dark reds that I think might look good too. But I'm not really sure. Do you want to specifically approve colors, or is this general color scheme good? Or how do we want to do this?
What areas are you planning to paint?
Well, I mean, the main area coming in is okay at the moment. It could use a touch-up, but if we want to change it from just being plain white, I think that might look nicer, or we can just redo the white that's there. But I think what we're focusing right now is repainting the bathroom, so that looks a little nicer. And then probably that main area right before the studio.
The little
Conference
green
room?
room area. Yeah.
Oh, the green room area.
Yeah, I think that would be good. I would paint the whole thing if you let me, but that's going to take a little bit of time, but I will do it, and I think it'll look nicer. So
Yeah.
what I would do, Darren, for yourself, is on the splotches that you have, pick two of each color that you have, and get samples, and then put them on the wall. And then that way you'll be able to see what's going to work well for you.
all right.
And also don't forget, guys, that we've got, especially now that we're getting into fairer weather, we have to lean on Mr. Arthur. Let's get these holes plugged up, because it's no good to paint or get the ceiling tiles put back in if we're having leaks.
Yeah, we got to go back over the skylights that apparently Dale and Tyler, I guess, either didn't seal correctly or didn't finish. So we're supposed to have some decent weather here in the next couple of weeks. So I'll have to go up there in the evening when everything's nice and warm and pliable and start peeking at the seams and seeing. Actually, if you wouldn't mind, if you actually are down there, put a little bit of like that green marking tape underneath where you recall the drips being, other than around the skylights, in case there's any new ones that I didn't see.
I could do that. I'll be in there this weekend.
Okay.
Mark all the spots that I've seen that definitely leak, because I've had to go in there a couple times while it was raining, and there's a handful of spots that I definitely know there are leaks getting through. and there's a couple more that I kind of suspect they might have been fixed the last time, but it's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, I can go mark out all the spots that I think are potentially an issue, and tell them, so pick up some paint samples and see what looks good.
Hey, my favorite thing is that spot you MacGyvered in Shauna's office there, where you made a drain where it came down. That was awesome.
So I'm going to recommend also that the paint that you pick up be a flat paint with no sheen to it. I know it's not as durable, but it'll be less reflective.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too.
Okay.
And I think that's it for me.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Darian regarding the facilities report? Oh, actually, I have a question for you. If you wouldn't mind looking up, sorry, I guess it'd be more of a statement and maybe a directive. So our lights are being turned off on the ramps, and below the first floor post, there's a fixture, and the lights weren't coming on. The one that I did test was just unscrewed up top, but it'll probably continue to happen. If you can look for either a replacement fixture or some sort of caging to put around it, see what kind of cost that would be, because I would like to prevent the possibility for them to continually unscrew the light bulbs so they can hide out. So at least that way we have nice and bright lights there.
All right.
So just either some sort of a caging for the current fixtures that we have, or different light fixtures that have a cage on it, or or some sort of different system, so that way we can blind them all night long if they want to continue to come and use our ramps.
I actually have two comments, and this might help fix that a little bit. First of all, we need to start looking at fencing. When I had an officer there the other day, and I'll go over that a little bit more, he said, look, if you guys just put up some 6-foot fencing around this area, he said, and throw some of those pigeon spikes on top, they'll quit coming in there. I'm like, I'll just line the whole thing with pigeon spikes. He goes, private property, I don't care what you guys do. But no, he suggested we do the 6-foot fence around from the whole side and come and wrap around with it, and then put pigeon spikes up top. Can we at least price that? I'm not asking to actually do it, but at least price it to see what it's gonna.
We can look into it. It's going to be a little bit challenging with the drop off in the back there, and the RV, the RV entrance that's down there. But at the very least, since that is challenging, if they wanted to stay back there and we wanted to block off the side that we, use on the side as the entrance, that might not be a bad idea, just to bring to the corner of the ramp towards the back of the parking by the door. It wouldn't be a bad idea to look for just that section.
And that would stop them from screwing with our lights if we just block that whole area off and get a gate.
But we would have to, it would have to be a little bit taller than 6 feet by the ramp, because otherwise they'd be able to just climb from the ramp over.
That's what the pigeon spikes are for.
Well, if we're doing chain link, the price itself.
That was from a police officer, by the way. I'm down with the
That doesn't mean that that's something you should do.
I'm totally down with
Police officers tell you all kinds of things. I had a police officer tell me that I should go out and pour gasoline down my mole tunnels or gas and light it. But I'm sorry, that's inappropriate.
The other comment I was going to make on the facilities report is, while you are pricing the paint, Darian, let's take a look at what we can do on the outside now with all that graffiti. We're going to have to get that covered up. So let's maybe do a paint match and look at pricing, what that's going to cost us to do.
Until we get fencing or something, there's no point to take off the graffiti before we get people to stop there putting up more graffiti.
Right.
But so find out a color match for the outside, or do we want to do new color or similar color? Also, some of that, the wood boarding and planks for that are kind of deteriorating a bit. We might want to look at getting that fixed up too.
I agree with that part. We actually had to be very careful about the outside of the building because it is a historical building. We can't do a whole lot out of different from what it looks like outside.
Okay.
So I
Uh,
would just keep the same color.
I would keep the same color. Yeah.
All right. Same
Sam,
color.
look around in that janitor's closet. There may be, well, that or the roof entry area. I think there was some paints there as well.
Most of those were empty. There is a bunch of paint downstairs as well.
But what I'm trying to get at is if you find the one that looks like the exterior, then you could probably just either take the identifier off the lid,
Okay.
and then the code will be on that to match it. Okay.
For a lot of the outside, if we just like get a pressure washer in there, we can get a lot of that cleaned out real quick. I mean, the whole outside needs pressure washed anyway, so that would probably fix a lot of that. That might even force off some of the graffiti too. But yeah, I'll look into that. So I guess that concludes my report completely. I think.
Okay. Any questions or comments or concerns for Darian regarding facilities report? Okay. Hearing none, we will move on to, so you don't have branding right now, right?
Programming.
Programming committee.
Okay, so I'm going to let you guys know we have officially fixed channel 120. Yay! We are fully on air, channel 21, channel 120, both on TV and online off of our website. You can watch it live. We are streaming there. Now that we have our stream going and our programming blasting out, Telview is working on finishing up our apps. So soon we will have our Android and our Roku and our iOS and Amazon Fire TV and Apple TV apps all ready to go. Now, the only thing that I have done with streaming out is on channel 21. We are blasting out TBW strictly right now, which is 24-hour government coverage. And channel 120, I'm blasting out NASA, except for Wednesdays and Sundays. I've been doing God TV, which we now have access to for the religious aspect of it. That is changing very soon. I'm working on building up the programming. I have a meeting tomorrow evening with Ralph Smith, who, as I've mentioned before, him and his crew have like 6 or 10 shows that they're trying to put on air. There's other shows I've been talking about. I actually went over some shows with Darian today at the station that I'd like to start working on. So I have the layout of the schedule. And I'm going to start, now that we have the programming fixed, which just happened this last week, we'll be able to start getting more of the city council meetings up on there and the COVID reports now and the PAPA meetings and things like that. Because channel 21, as we dictated before, we're sticking strictly as news and government only. That's just a straight up. And the cool thing about it, though, is with our partnership with TBW, we have the governor's on channel 21. The moment he starts making an announcement, we go right to it. So I love that. That means that we are keeping people up to date about Washington State locally, and I really dig that. Channel 120 is going to be our community channel, Northwest Peninsula Television. And like I said, I'm already in talks with a lot of people. I'm also talking with some of the church groups to get them involved on my new thing. Because like I said, we used to do just Sundays. I'm offering Sundays and Wednesdays as a pilot program for now, just to see what we can do. But that should start shaping up a lot more within the next couple of weeks. Our programming is going to be a lot more solid. I love this new system, guys. It is very easy, point and click programming, and even on live streams, I just drag it over to the program and tell it how long it's going to play. And it really is just, I'm loving it. It's a lot different than the last one. But
Charlie,
that's it for the program report right at the moment.
just to give you a background on what Eric just talked about.
Oh, Charlie.
Yeah, 120 is a HD channel. and we're just dedicating it to whatever the community can do. And then 21 is a SD channel, meaning it's standard definition. It's a lower res, and we're just dedicating that to stuff that doesn't need to be in high definition necessarily. And then we did, just so you understand, we recently bought an automation server and software package because the stuff that we had previously was pretty bad, and we were constantly failing to provide programming on cable television. So
Yeah, I watched the last meeting and kind of got the history on that. So
great. I want to make sure you understand. Make sure you understand.
I have one really stupid question. 120 and
Good question, sir.
all right. So 120 is on cable.
Yes.
Company. Okay, and 21 as well.
Yep. They are both running. I've tested them. As a matter of fact, I'm blasting out 120 on the TV that is showing out the front of window of Papa right now.
So if you don't have a cable, you can't see the channels.
We are also doing it on our website currently.
Okay. All right.
They can watch it live off of our website. We are about to offer an Android app, an iOS app, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, and Apple TV to anybody that wants to watch it on those platforms.
That's good because most of the people seem to stream nowadays.
Right.
Cable. So thank you. That's great.
And I just checked it, and I wanted to go see to make sure it was on. Everything's working correctly for 21 and 121. So we're all good there, Charlie.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions, comments, or concerns for Eric regarding his report? Okay, I do have a couple of comments. Or questions and comments. Have you blasted that out on the social media at all regarding
Being on the web?
being on?
No,
the web?
I'm planning to. I was actually going to work with Silas a little bit on that one, as blasting it out between his channels and my channels. We can get that news out there. It just recently got fixed this last weekend, so I've been getting used to being back in the station and haven't had a chance to do it yet.
All right, so it would be great to, even if not everything is completely ready, do small little blasts on social media. So that way the whole algorithm thing starts showing people's news feeds more information relevant to Papa. The other thing that would be great at the same time would be to potentially do a small, like a sidebar of a board of community events. And it would be great to actually start reaching out to the community saying, hey, if you have any events, let us know so we can post that. To get them engaged at the same time, create a dialogue to talk about the channel and possibly work together.
Okay, so
hold on. Silas had his hand first, and then you can go.
Which is to say, Eric, thank you for at least waiting and make sure everything is working before we promote it. In the past, we've promoted things, hasn't worked, and I'm just kind of tired of things failing, and then it makes us look bad.
That goes along the lines of what I was about to say. So y'all don't understand. Athenza and Telview. Athenza, my 6-year-old could run. It had problems, but it was my 6-year-old could run it. I have 20 different manuals I have to read to go through the Athenza stuff, and I'm learning as I go because there's so much to it. The billboard system is one of them. I'm learning. We have the capability. I'm learning about it. Bear with me, please, on that. I'm learning about the multi-streaming, because we no longer have, I went ahead and canceled it because it was up and I wasn't going to pay for it again. We no longer have Restream. We have that capability with the Telview stuff.
Yeah.
No need to pay $400 a year for something we can blast right out of our servers.
I agree.
So that freed up another $400 a year for us. But yeah, I'm making sure it's working, and I'm testing it, and I'm learning new stuff every day. I'm actually working on it from home, and I'm working on it at the station. So it's a learning curve for me, you guys. Kind of bear with me a little bit. It may take a little bit longer, but the great thing about Telview is not only do they have documents for days, they have training videos, they have webinars they've done on this stuff, and they're great at teaching. It just takes time. And that's time is the one factor that that you know a lot of people, it wears on some people's patience. I'm loving learning all this new stuff. So every new thing, I'm like, huh, that was just a checkbox I could have did just a little while ago, and it's some little stuff like that that they teach you that's great. I love it.
It would be great if you could at least start the dialogue, maybe that the board is coming.
Right.
And then just use that also for the algorithm. That way, at the very least, it gets the feelers out there for the community events so that we can post them and that they can anticipate that we have a new feature coming.
Right. And when I'm done, guys, we'll be able to do billboards like crazy. We'll be able to do billboards showing what did you just watch, what's coming up, what's the community events, what's the weather today, what's our schedule look like. It'll all come out, all flow. And by the way, weather, we do not set. It literally pulls from the airport or the Coast Guard station, whichever one I send it to. So when that billboard pops up, it is the correct, accurate information for that very minute. And I already learned how to do that. So, like I said, it's little things, but yeah, I'm getting there. Yeah, we'll get that out there.
Okay, so we will move on to
Outreach.
So from my end, I guess I kind of covered that on the chair report. We're gonna have to change.
That would be on Silas.
What did
Brandon's not on the outreach.
Oh,
I know, but make sure-
yeah. Thank you. I'll take that off.
And then, in fact, we should, since we have Charlie now officially on, we'll probably have to put on the next agenda to see if Charlie would like to join any of those committees.
Yeah, we should change those committees.
Because we're gonna have to look over all those things that Brendan was on, and then potentially rearrange all that.
Right.
So that will be a side note for next meeting. I'll give you a minute to do that, and then when you're done, you can just go ahead and do your report.
Station manager report. Okay. Well, I don't change this. He's making the notes, so we'll take care of that. All right, station manager report. I actually have a lot. It has been well. First of all, I am back in the studio full time. No longer running it from home. So starting Monday, I'm there 12 to 5 every day, unless I have meetings that run later, or we have somebody who needs to use the studio time later. So I'll be doing that Monday through Friday. And it's a good thing I did, because the other day, Shauna and I pulled up, and this is about that officer I talked to. He said about the fence. We pulled up around 11:30, and somebody was using a blowtorch on our wooden railing. They were trying to set the railing on fire. Had I not shown up, I don't know how far that would have went. Needless to say, I was pretty ticked off. I ran them out of there, called the police. They were there. Told the officer that, in which he never returned, so I guess he didn't find the guy. But I gave a very good description of the guy and told him, I said, yeah, there were 5 of them, but the other guys were cool. I want to press charges on that guy, though, if you find him, for destruction of private property. And he apparently didn't find him, but he was also the one that was talking to me about the fencing. Yesterday was extremely fun, because we had a guy. I stepped out on the ramp, and I saw a guy within the Veteran Park Bell fencing area, and he was screaming out obscenities and throwing stuff at people in cars from there. So I called the police, who showed up, then he climbed up onto the roof of the Bell and started dancing, saying some very hilarious things that now I can't stop but watching it, because I've watched this from the beginning, so now I've got to be there. But it was, in the end, we had like 5 or 6 police cars show up. Fire department was there. Rescue was there, and he just climbed down himself. So it was kind of anticlimactic. Kind of hoping they hosed him off of there with that fire truck, but that apparently didn't happen. That was, but no, as I've been inside, Friday, before I came in, I knew, knowing that I was coming in this week, all that equipment I've been talking to you guys about me bringing in for production, I got it up there Friday. I've been working on it the last couple of days. I got 4 PTZ cameras, all controllable. I'm trying to get the production side back or up and running with brand new equipment. I'm having some very good success right now. I also bought some new software, some production software. Um, I have a brand new soundboard, brand new controller for the cameras because all 4 of those cameras can be run from the control room. Don't even have to have anybody on the floor for those. So, and they're amazing quality cameras. But I'm working on those. I'm working on getting everything back. I mean, Darian's been great about keeping the upkeep on the building when everybody was been out. Now I'm back, so there's little bitty things I'm working on as we go, and he's coming in this weekend to take care of some of the things that to help me out. So my goal is we're gonna have a completely different look in that studio by the time I'm done. I mean, I pulled 400 feet of cable that was there yesterday that went to literally nothing, and it didn't have a reason to be there. It was just there. So, and we're finding a lot of that. So all that excess cables coming out, going away. All the excess stuff that just doesn't belong is being pulled out, reorganized. I got wireless mic lapels that I'm putting a wireless system in for sound for anybody who wants to do interviews. We got some other systems that are going to be coming in too over. And so what I've got now, plus what we're going to add during the summer, I got those 2 Black Magic cameras I want to bring in for the summer, which I couldn't do this last time because they are sold out everywhere. You can't even get them on eBay right now. They're the #1 production camera.
Yes, please.
Period. So hopefully by the time my next big check comes in, I'll be able to pick up a couple of those. So I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with the programming. I'm dealing with learning the Telview system. Making my suggestions to Darian about some of the things we can do in the office. It's really just cosmetic stuff, but it would make things look so much more professional, so much better. And we only got one shot at a first impression, and that's what I'm looking at. Somebody walks through those doors, I want them to see that we're there to be serious, because we are there to be serious. That's pretty much it. I mean, again, we've dealt with some of the homeless problems. I had one guy sit on the ramp last night. I was in the studio, and when Shauna got there, he wouldn't even let her up the ramp. But when I found out about that, I flew out the door, and apparently my tone was enough. They knew I was serious because they ran. I'm not going to block my wife. Yeah, that's a no-no. So I'm hoping that they're starting to see. I actually have nobody there today. 0. So I'm hoping that they start seeing our presence is there more now. That's going to make an impact on it. So
I just wanted to say, I think this has been mentioned to us before, that the more we're there, the less we're probably going to be dealing with this. And before we start putting up fencing and stuff like that, let's give it some time where we're occupying the building. I mean, changing the light to a caged light, that's easy. I can do that. But I just don't want to see us like spend money on fencing, and it probably is just a temporary thing. So,
okay,
I agree, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so does anyone have any questions, comments, or concerns for Eric in regards to his station manager report? Go ahead, Silas.
Port Townsend.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes. So as you know, Charlie, just to let you know, I don't know how much you're caught up on that, but I'll give you the background. When I originally came in on this, I had decided I was going to make some phone calls to some of the other PEG stations to find out, hey, do you want to work together? We're supposed to be the people's channels. And when I made the call to Port Townsend, it come to find out nobody has been running their channel for 2 years. They just have them there, and they're running repeats. So we have been in negotiations with Port Townsend to take over management of the Port Townsend channels, so we would have control of both Jefferson and Clallam County. That almost went through, And then the Jefferson radio station or the Port Townsend radio station came in and said, now, wait a minute, we would like to do it. So we've been arguing with them. I actually talked to.
We've been negotiating with them.
Negotiating, arguing.
Yes, we've been strongly negotiating with them. I actually talked to Heidi on Friday. We're going to put a Zoom meeting together between us, the radio station, and Heidi. She had some questions to Wave that finally got answered because no matter what I was trying to explain to her, she wanted to understand the technical side a little bit more from Wave. And it didn't, where it wasn't just coming from somebody who wanted the management. It's somebody who was, in charge of it. So she's got her questions answered. She's wanting to sit us down with on a Zoom meeting with the radio station. And here is what it sounds like it's going to work out to be. We will take over complete management of the channels. However, the radio station will have the option to handle programming. Whether it's specific dates, we got to work that out. Certain events they want access to live, that's fine. Live coverage is literally a switch of the button as long as I have the feed stream on this new equipment. So as I explained to her, no problem. I have no problem with them helping with the programming. As a matter of fact, having somebody in place in the other county who can deal with events helps us more, just as much as it helps them. So, yeah, and they have channels 98, 99, I believe, in Jefferson County. So we will be, the more I hear from them, I should actually know something within the next week when they're going to sit down on the Zoom meeting. And the moment Heidi calls me about that, I'll send a letter out to the board letting them know, hey, guys, here's the day the meeting's been set. As a matter of fact, anybody who wants to join it, anybody who wants to come put their 2 cents in and talk to Heidi, answer any questions, whatever, please, more than happy to have you on board.
Yeah,
So,
I would definitely love to sit in on that.
And Heidi, huh?
Was it Tuesday or when?
No, she hasn't set a date
she
yet.
hasn't.
But Heidi loves PA. She was actually part of the legal counsel here before she took over as a city lawyer for Port Townsend. She was the one that helped renegotiate the contract between PA and Wave this last time. So she's very familiar with the whole process. She's familiar with the legal process. She's not familiar with the technical process. So that's what we're trying to help her understand. And I think it's going to be, it would be a nice partnership with us in that radio station and us and Port Townsend to have a greater coverage of the entire peninsula. So I'm excited about that.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, or concerns regarding the station manager report? Okay, seeing none, we will move on. Have we had any committees actually meet?
No. I've met with myself on the couple of committees that I am on myself, and I'm tired of listening to myself. So no, we haven't really met a whole lot.
Okay, good to know. All right, so we will move on to, those are all committees, old business. So topic A, the van sale.
Mr. Silas.
Yeah,
Silas.
I started putting together the stuff we need for the ad, and so hopefully maybe next week we'll have an ad up. So I got the manual from him today. It's just like the van costs one thing, but then all the components, figuring out a value for those components and then merging that with the cost of what the van is probably valued at right now just takes a little work. And there's been so much going on last month that I didn't get to it. So
Eric and I were talking about this, and I don't remember if we actually talked about this during one of the meetings or not, but maybe we try and start posting it with what we got it for, which was 7,500.
Well, when I saw the receipt was 7,500, but that was 3 years ago.
I'm worried it's not actually worth that, but we can try it. I mean,
right. Well, that our best offer. Worst case scenario, we meet in the middle somewhere, or even if we absolutely had to, then we could sell it for just the value of the van. But that would still be between those two numbers anyway.
Sure.
So I can't imagine that van with that mileage, just as the van, is probably somewhere in the $6,000 neighborhood. So the fact that it's got onboard generator, lighting, and everything else, I mean, that would probably, in this area, would be good for anyone who's into camping. Can be done as a conversion for a camper, or hobbyists or what have you. So the worst case scenario, if we had to let it go for van price, just as the van, at least we have the low end, and then we know we won't cross that with the extra stuff that it has on it.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll touch base with you when we go to post it, and we can figure out the best
And
approach.
by the way, my wife is all about best offer because it's just sitting right out there.
Yeah, I think we can have it sold pretty soon. I wanted to make sure that I had all the information before I wrote something up. So.
It's a great driving van. I actually wrote it when we moved it from Elizabeth's house to here. The van runs great. The generator's great. That AC, once it starts, you better be ready to be cold, because that thing will blow you out of there. So it's a great van, and there's no, and the problem is that it's 21 years old. It does have very low mileage, but a lot of people are going to see that it's a 21-year-old van. But we just put new LED lights in there, and it's got a great generator. So.
Arthur had instructed them to be ripped out last meeting. Is that something you're still doing, or no? Set against
there. We bought them specifically for those mounts, those lighting mounts. So it's not like we can pull them out and use them somewhere else.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
All right. Does anyone have any questions for the van on old business? Okay, so we'll move on to new business. Topic A, Charlie McCon becoming a Papa board member seat.
Welcome, Charlie. Welcome.
Welcome, Charlie. So I don't think we really don't need any official votes or motions, because we've already established that is a city seat. So yeah, welcome, Charlie.
Yeah, and Charlie, I do have a question. I've seen you at the city council meetings, and do you have any? Just so I know when I'm talking, do you have any technical background, business background? I mean, where is your strong suits when it comes to something like this for Papa?
I do have some electrical background, but it's mostly residential and light commercial. Mostly I've been in the electric utility industry though for 43 years.
Hey, that's great.
So if you need transformers or power poles or toilet paper or whatever, I can get you that stuff. But you have to pay for it. I work at PUD, by the way, if you guys don't know. I work for Clallam County PUD.
Yeah.
The building I work in is the old Costco.
Oh, you still work for the PUD?
I do, so if you guys are ever in that area, you're more than welcome to stop in. I'll give you a tour of the facility. You're interested in what's in there or whatever.
The only connection I've ever had with the PUD is there's a couple times I inquired about their old business office, the one that's just been sitting there forever, that I'm like, guys, look, if you work with a nonprofit, they're like, yeah, but we don't pay taxes anyways, so where's the benefit to us? So,
who doesn't pay taxes?
PUD.
They said that they don't pay taxes anyway.
Sure we do.
Oh, well, then they lied to me.
I don't know what you think about that.
But, I was trying to talk to them about the fact that, being they're a nonprofit, they can use that as a tax credit, because you can claim, I think you can get up to $10,000 as a tax break working with nonprofit groups, depending on what you are doing for donations or building leases and things like that you can claim out. But I've approached these people.
Did you notice that building?
Yeah, I finally saw it was sold, and then they turned around and they're leasing it out.
That's right, all parts.
Right. I'm like, what are you guys doing? That building's beautiful. I've been in there several times.
We were glad that building was really old. And I think that was from the 60s, so it was really getting pretty old, beat up.
Yeah.
All right.
But hey, you're always welcome to come run out of the new building.
So does anyone have any more questions for Charlie? All right, so we will move on to the hardware grant. Eric, take it away.
You guys are gonna like this. Before COVID hit, I decided I was gonna try my hand at grants, which, by the way, I'm horrible at. But I did find one through TechSoup, which is the main nonprofit thing that you go through anymore. All the main computer companies go through them. Everybody anymore. You can't just call up Microsoft and ask for free stuff. They will point you to TechSoup. You can't ask HP for stuff for nonprofits. They will point you to TechSoup. So I saw a thing on there called a hardware grant that I filled out. And I basically threw everything but the kitchen sink at it. They're asking, what do you guys need? I'm like, here, bam. And forgot about it. And right before I went to Oklahoma a couple weeks ago, I got a phone call that said we have been approved for the hardware grant. They apologize. COVID really set them back. But here's what we've been approved for. We've been approved for 5 desktop systems with monitors, keyboards, and mice, 5 all-in-one computer systems with keyboards and mice, and 2 iMacs. Plus, they're trying to give me some switches and things like that on little accessories and stuff. Like I said, I threw everything at them, and the only downside to it is we have to send Arthur to Portland. We have to go down to Portland to pick him up. So they're working on them now. I'm going to be working with Keith because everything but the iMac actually comes installed with Linux. But that's because Linux is free. Keith's actually been working with some nonprofit stuff to get Windows for us. He will be doing the conversion for us. And what he can't handle, I'll get to as well. So, yeah, we've got 12 brand new computer systems coming in that we can line up and put for various uses and editing stations inside of Papa. So,
Silas?
Yeah. Have we talked about what kind of software we'll put on them for editing? Or has anybody looked into getting some kind of Adobe nonprofit suite license?
The Adobe does not actually have a nonprofit license.
Oh, okay.
I would love it. I am pro Adobe.
Yeah.
So I think we should be looking into getting the standard stuff if we can.
That's
But
Adobe.
Not only Adobe.
Yeah, I mean,
a variety of the standard, most commonly used software, and maybe a couple of ones that are free.
mhm.
That you can get online, because we want to be able to use
There are a couple of them.
the skill set to transition to all the other platforms, especially once we start doing classes, so we can, okay, if you can't afford this, here's what it looks like on this, and maybe have classes on those types of things.
Don't be cheated by this.
I really agree that it would be good to have different kinds of editing software, production
Right.
software, and maybe I just need to do some more digging about. But yeah, I think Adobe. We definitely need to consider having Adobe
150%
on at
that.
least 2 or 3 computers, or 2 or
Right.
4 usually. Multiples of
And
2.
With that, I think we should try and reach out to those companies to try and get some sort of partnership going, whether they don't give us a discount, or if they could at least send us free trial, something like that, so they work with us.
I can look through TechSoup. The moment we start doing classes, we become an educational institution.
Yeah.
And then we actually open the door for a few other things.
So,
Yeah, the education component is important. And I also think that we could potentially talk to organizations about sponsoring the software, because there are a lot of organizations that want to make content, but they don't want to pay necessarily for the computers and the software, under their own umbrella. But if it worked out to a tax deduction as a donation or something, that might be a good way to kind of partner with businesses, or we help them make content in trade, something. I think, but we should start talking to people
or something like that.
Yeah.
So maybe we add that as a subcommittee agenda.
For the programming subcommittee.
Well, yes, I
That
know,
would be
but
neat.
you're not.
Oh.
We gotta go.
I am also now on that program committee, by the way.
But we'll have to go over that, later on too, in case we switch. But that should be a topic of at least getting a list of companies relevant to Papa, like production software, all that stuff that we want to be able to teach and or use to see who would be willing to partner with us, and then break it apart. The board to take on, take a couple here, a couple there, and make some phone calls and contacts to start these relationships.
I can reach back out to TechSoup too and see if they've hidden anything for Adobe in there. TechSoup is really hard to navigate, but it's. I mean, obviously we won something. It's like that's the first time I've won anything. We got a hardware grant, 12 computers. Yeah,
That's a big step for us.
Yeah.
I mean, 12 stations. That's a good accomplishment. Thank you, Eric. Does anyone have any questions regarding the hardware grant for Eric? Okay, so we will move on to the Net to Phone.
I'm gonna keep this real quick, guys. There actually is something that's come to light.
Well, hold on, first of all, did everyone get the email that Eric sent out with the bids for the 3 different companies that he was researching? Okay, all right, go ahead.
Okay, there's something that came to light this afternoon that I was not very happy with, especially with Net2 Phone. I had a company I was talking to. I'm actually kind of glad he talked to me about it. One of the companies of the 3 that I chose, we were talking about apples to apples comparison, and he said, just a quick question. He said, how are we going to sit there? And I said, truth to be told, you guys haven't touched Net2 Phone because of their pricing. And he goes, oh, really? Did they include all of the government fees we have to price or we have to charge? And I'm like, I don't know. And I went back through that. No, they did not. Had they included all the government fees, they would have been up there at the same par as the other 2. Price-wise. They did not put it on their thing. So I'm like, well, that's a little shady. I wasn't really happy with that.
That was with Net to Phone?
That was with Net2 Phone. And it was the other one, the virtual PBX, that pointed it out. And he straight up told me, he said, I don't care whether you go, come in. Oh, we have a meeting, Zach. Okay. Well, I don't care whether, he said, I don't care whether you guys are going to go with us or not, but if you are going to do apples to apples comparison, please give us a fair shot. And I said, that's honestly cool. I agree with that. I'm going to be talking to these guys about scaling it down to a couple, but here's the whole thing behind this, guys. We've got to have a better phone system in Papa. I think it's more professional, for one, if we've got the auto assistant, but at the same time, we have one phone that is up there in front that I can't hear when I'm upstairs. That's it. So if it's ringing, I'm upstairs, it's just going to go to voicemail. Then I have to keep going back and checking voicemails. I want at least 2. One upstairs, one downstairs. We pay $50 a month to Wave right now for one phone. I think if we cancel that, we could get very comparative, or even if it's just a little bit more, for a better setup. The other thing I liked is, like with these other ones, is Net2 Phone and Virtual PBX. They offer our own virtual meeting software. So we won't have to use Google Meetups anymore. We actually have more, which, by the way, is a tool for those of us who want to teach. If we start running classes and somebody wants to be at a class, can't show up for I don't know, babysitting reasons, I understand that. We could use that as a tool for them to be able to come in. I really think that the board should consider the fact, it's not a hard press, because I know we've got a lot going on, but having more than one phone in that building would be nice. And these IP phones, we're already wired for it. We have network wires all through that building. some of the things, like I said, some of the things that I like about the IP phones are automated assistant, which they can put in an extension that goes to whatever phone for something. If we had two phones, we could say membership and billing or something else, put these and then it'll ring that phone. If not, it'll go to a voicemail. And when we're out of the office, we already preset that says, sorry, you're calling after hours, call during this time for us to be there. Um, you know, Again, I think the automated assistant is the professional side of it. I personally just want more phones in the building. So again, it's a want, not necessarily a need. I'm asking the board to consider it because, being there during the day, I can't hear all the way across the building. It's just that much more difficult. Yeah.
Silas, go ahead.
So I understand the want. I think it's something that we can aspire to, but at this point in time, we have to I would really like to see what is our budget right now. What are we spending? Before we start adding lots of more fees. Hold on just a second. Let's get a cordless phone with the 2 receiver set and spread it throughout the building. And then as we grow, as we start offering more stuff, then we talk about how an IP system will improve what we're doing, will garner more money. But for now, it just seems like that's not worth the cost.
We can't run wireless phone throughout that building. It's concrete walls. The signal drops off real fast. And I learned that when we had to get wireless repeaters up. We had to put in 1, 2, 3 wireless repeaters throughout the building to get wireless to be able to go throughout the building. Those walls are freaking horrible. It is what it is. Like I said, I've been dealing with it this long, and if we have to continue dealing with it this long, it's fine. The biggest problem we've been having is the committees have been doing a little bit of everything, and nobody's had the time to meet, so we can't get the financial committee together. And these are things that, and I'm going to be bringing this up on my next one. Without these committees getting together, some of this stuff isn't getting done, and it makes it a little harder for certain things to be done on my end if other things are not being done. So that's why it's an ask. It makes things a little bit easier. It makes us look a little bit more professional and adds a new tool set in our pocket. We can table it for now. That's cool. Like I said, I've been dealing with it as it is, but it's just something that I really want the board to start considering.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments for Eric regarding the IP phones? Okay, so I have a couple of comments to make myself. Actually, Silas, I completely agree. I told Eric this when I spoke with him after seeing the information. I think that is something great for us to aspire to, especially once we're more renovated. We will need phones for downstairs once we start actually having rooms, like say we're doing the podcasting radio, whatever have you. We will need phones in other locations for call-ins and stuff like that if it comes down to it. But I do agree with Silas. That is something we should be aspiring to. And at the moment, if we need to, we should be able to find a cheaper alternative, whether it's running lines over the ceiling tiles and plugging in more hardwired phones. And then, or I don't know, I don't know regards to telephones, so old school telephones. If there's repeater systems that would work on a Wi-Fi based.
No,
okay.
Not on the old phones.
But there's got to be a cheap way for us to run some cabling and just throw a few more phones in other locations temporarily, and just get a couple of cheap phones until we have more income coming in.
Well, like I said, I've dealt with it this long. I just want something. I just like the board to keep it in mind because I think it's something that's needed. Running back and forth to answer the phone when I can hear it is a pain in the butt. And I'm doing a lot of work more upstairs than I do downstairs. So
I think it's a great concept. It's something we definitely need to be striving to get, especially as we start to being more open to the public and start progressing further in the renovations and opening up other rooms for the other venues that we have planned for them. So if there's no other questions, then we will, I guess, just keep this in thought and maybe bring it up at another time for further discussion. Okay, so we'll move on to membership options. Go ahead, Eric.
Okay, this goes along the same lines of what I was talking about just a minute ago as far as the committee's meeting. Guys, we cannot wait any longer. We have got to get our memberships chosen. I want to motion the board to do it tonight because I have a website I have to maintain. We're not making any money if we're not bringing in membership fees. I don't think it's going to be right now that I'm open. If somebody comes in and says, "What's your membership?" "Oh, it's free." "Oh, but next week we decide otherwise." Now you have to pay. We don't have any money in the doors at the moment. Let's get it off the ground before they start coming in. I threw out 4 options. Whether y'all want those or not, or you want to switch them, I don't care. I threw them out there because nobody else threw any options out there. But I can't finish the website without membership options up there, and that's on me. I can't, we can't bring people in. I've got to sit down with Ralph Smith and his business tomorrow. What am I supposed to tell them that we're going to charge them for programming? We have nothing. We literally have nothing right now, but I can't sit down with them and have a meeting tomorrow and tell him, well, right now it's free, and then flip it on him here in a week or two and tell him, well, now you have to pay X amount of money. I as a business owner would be mad. If I go into something, I want to know what it is I'm paying up front, just like we do. That's why I have to present options when we come up with something.
Eric.
Yeah. Hold on one quick second. Did we not? I know we didn't accept the new suggestion yet, but I'm pretty sure we did say we were going to currently go back to what we had before. Am I wrong? Go ahead, Silas.
No, because I watched the discussion. We had a really good debate and discussion about it last meeting, and we were getting somewhere. And Keith said, "Well, why don't we just hold off now?" And everybody email me, and he would send a summary of that, and we could have this offline conversation. That never happened. Okay. And I do agree. Or go. I don't need to finish my thought. If you want to finish yours, Arthur.
Well, I was just going to say, if the board. Okay, so let me backtrack. I actually thought Eric's proposal was a very good one. I would be okay with going with that route, and if we needed to tweak it down the road, price-wise, up or down a little bit, it's good. If not, I think then we, at the very minimum, need to reinstate what we had before, and then set up a time to go over it and then adjust it later. So, okay, go ahead, Eric, and then Silas.
Jeffrey first.
Jeff.
Yeah.
And Silas.
Okay, Eric. On the price line of a business, right? That is not free. That will never be free because you cannot have it free for a business.
Well, I know, but we don't have a price.
Yeah. Well, so
right now everything's free.
It was organizational membership.
Right.
And that's what it would defer to if we don't make any changes.
Right. And I agree with that, Jeff. I absolutely agree. I don't want to, but at the moment we've been sitting in limbo, is what I was saying, as I didn't have an actual price point to tell these people, but I have to have meetings with these people. So what am I supposed to tell them? The only thing that I want to suggest now, Shauna brought this up, and I actually agree with her. She's not in the room, so I said that yes, I agree with her. The family option that I offered she thinks it should be switched to a family plan, to where if there's multiple people in the house, you can pay X amount of money for everybody within your household, instead of just $25 per extra member of your household. So you have a membership, a family plan, your producer plan, and your business plan. I liked that idea. I mean, I can see it go either way. So I'm game for either way, but I liked, yeah. And I don't know if Charlie, did you get that membership thing I sent out? You didn't?
So you're on mute, Charlie, by the way.
He just
I did it.
I will. Let me forward it.
Yeah, I was
real
gonna say
quick.
before that, and then Silas, go ahead. You were
Okay.
next.
So the crux of our debate last time was that we don't offer anything at the moment of value other than, well, even last time we barely had any programming up, right? And so we have accomplished that. We do have a sustainable programming situation, but we still do not have a usable studio. I mean, we're close. Eric, you've made like great strides to that, and I
We're
appreciate
really
that.
close. Yeah.
But until we have that, until somebody can walk through the office there and see the potential and walk in and use things, I really am resistant to saying, here, you have to charge. Here's all these things that we're saying we offer when we don't. So we did end it last time saying, let's reinstate the $50 and the $300 and keep it there until we actually have something that we can show and something people can use in that moment they sign up.
The only difference that we're doing in as far as the studio goes is people like again, I will use Ralph. He has his own crew. He has his own filming equipment. They just wanted to use the studio space. The other stuff we were talking about is access to the equipment we're bringing in.
Sure.
We have the space. I mean, God knows we've got the space. And we can arrange it as Darian and I were going over that today. I mean, we can arrange it however we need for somebody to be able to use it. So the space is there. The equipment is being installed and tested currently on our end. But if they want to be able to come in and use their own equipment, I don't see where the problem is there, because we're giving them the floor space for it. You know, and they still have access to our green screens and our lighting if they want. All of our lighting's still there, and you know, so it's just the new camera equipment that they don't have access to. So and we do have a couple of 4K cameras on the floor that are working just fine that they could use if they wanted to.
And we do have Lindsay and
Yeah, we're not going to use
well,
those.
someone. So, but just to reiterate, I don't know if you guys have it pulled up or not here. We really are not talking about real rate changes in regards to what Eric sent out. I mean, we're still at the 50 and 300 on the high ends. All that we really end up doing is we're clarifying studio usage time.
Right.
We're clarifying that we're giving discounts for classes or any seminars or anything that we want to hold. And then on top of that, I think there was, what else was there?
Access to our equipment.
Access to the equipment, which we do have equipment now. As
Right.
far as the studio, technically a studio is 4 walls. You know, you go to rent, you're renting a space for whatever you're trying to create in a show. So we have the bare bones. It's not the prettiest pig in the group, but it's there.
It's going to be sexy here in a little while.
So
I'm gonna
it'll
tell
get
y'all
there.
that.
So, I mean, when we're really looking at it, what we're trying to accomplish with Eric's is just adding 2 more steps in between the $50 and $300 range, and creating a little bit more incentives and clarifying those aspects. So, go ahead, Zaz.
I just don't like, until we have editing machines that are actually working and they have software on them, I think you need to take that off. And then the classes, you need to take that off until we actually have worked out how that works.
Okay, we do have 2 editing machines that have Final Cut Pro on them.
I would like to see those before, because I have a feeling that they're not working, like functional, you know.
No, one
Are
of
you
them's-
editing on them?
Yeah.
Because when I edited them in the past, I said, this is a joke.
Well, partly it was because there's just so much files saved to that computer, which we need to put onto some sort of archive and get it off of it to speed it up. But again, we're getting 12 new units.
Okay, and that's great. When we get that, let's say, hey, we have a whole lab that you can come use. But if I was a producer and I paid $300 and I came in and I had to use one of those computers, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, what? I'm not getting anything for the value I've just paid you. So I'm just bringing that to light.
No, I can agree with that. I absolutely can agree with that.
Well, let me ask this question of you guys. Aside from what we currently have, looking at what Eric sent out, is there any actual objection to what was sent out, assuming we were ready with the machines and other items?
The new cameras and stuff like that.
But that's yours that you're setting up. That's secondary, but we do have stuff there. As far as the structure goes,
Structure's fine. Let's just not advertise things that are not actually there.
so my question to you that I pose is this: would it not be good to post that, since we're going back to stage 3 of the COVID thing and we're going to be opening up to the public? Would it not be good to post our previous one as the current pricing, but reveal the structure of what is going to be to come, being what, if everyone agrees, that the Eric's revised pricing proposal, we have that ready, and say that this is to come, because again, we're not really changing much.
So enact the $50 and the $300 memberships, but put a side note that when Papa 2.0 is finally online as we want it, we will be offering more options in the future. Is that what's being said? Because I don't mind that.
I'm saying currently post that we're going to what we had before you had this.
Okay.
But with that saying, we're working on the studio, we're working on all these things, finalizing them. Once we do, here's going to be what you will get, because these are additional things, benefits that are added.
So basically what I just said is that after Papa 2.0...
No, because you were talking about updated. You were talking about putting those two on. But those two include the changes.
No, I'm just saying, go back to our original price structure.
Yes,
and
but
then
not include those added stuff.
Right. After, just put a little blurb in there that after we upgrade our points, then yeah.
Okay, this is why Keith took this offline last time, because we just start spinning our wheels. I think we really enact the old pricing. That's great. And then take this to committee and work it out. And it has to come from committee back to the board before we do anything else.
Okay. I'll get it.
I'll make a motion right now. I want to make a motion that we enact our old pricing, and that we will also take this new structure and work it out so it's more presentable in a committee, and then we'll present it to the board.
I second that motion.
I would like to amend that motion real fast. I agree with the motion of the old pricing, but the old pricing did not include that people were able to come in and use studio time unless they paid $30 an hour. I think that they ought to be able to come in as members, as long as they schedule it, that they can use studio time.
So we're not charging for studio time, right?
No.
Yeah, that's great. I don't think we need to charge for studio time.
Yeah, that was going to be part of the membership.
So what he's clarifying is that the old structure actually did charge for studio time.
Yeah, let's
wants to amend it to currently it will not charge.
I totally agree with that.
Okay, so you accept the amendment. So the current motion is to revert back to the old pricing schedule, with studio time being included into the cost.
As long as it's scheduled.
As long as the available time is, or as long as time is available in the studio. Okay, using unanimous consent, any opposed? Okay, so the motion passes. So Eric, now you have your guide. Committees for, we need to schedule a committee for the pricing. I don't know, that's, what is that?
That's finance.
Finance.
That would be you, Keith, and Jonah.
Okay. Okay, so we will move on to where we are here. E. So response to council regarding PA council member Brendan Mayor's statement. Okay, so Charlie, did we send you the audio of our meeting?
I forgot.
No, you forgot?
No.
Yeah, sorry.
I watched the last meeting you guys had, not special meeting, but it looked like the end of the one you had on your website was cut off at the end. I don't know if I missed anything on that.
Yeah.
He might come back in if
Okay, there he is. Okay, so we actually had a special meeting that we were hoping you would come to, but since you didn't, we kind of had a preliminary conversation. So what we wanted to do is to discuss with you what we saw at the city council meeting and update you as far as anything that you might want to know, clarify. We're hoping to have a resolution for this. We don't know what the city's stance on this was with how Brendan was addressing it in open meeting. But we were kind of disappointed in the fact that Brendan took this approach to basically badmouth Eric as well as, in a way, Papa with some of his statements. So what we're hoping to do is to get a dialogue with the city and get a sort of resolution on this matter, because we don't know what the city's take on it was, but it was publicly aired, and from our standpoint, we would like to kind of resolve that because we do feel that there was inaccuracies made and false statements where we do have video documentation of the false statements and or not full truths. So what we're hoping to do is to resolve that between the city and Papa as well as the community, because it was made public to the community. So do you have any questions or any information regarding that for us?
No, I would really like to see the meeting, the special meeting, and
I'm going to send to you right now.
and I didn't really see the end. Are all the meetings on Facebook, or are they archived?
We are actually in the process of scooting those around. Silas and I have been talking about them. We're going to have them on Facebook as well as YouTube. We're adding the I don't know why the end of the last meeting was cut off, but I will get that
YouTube
resolved.
is the primary destination because it's an open access platform. Facebook is not an open access platform. So
yeah, that's great. I like that.
Yeah, so we're gonna make sure that we agreed last meeting that every month our board meeting will be on YouTube. We didn't actually say anything about Facebook, but it's fine if we put it up there. So yeah, Charlie, we'll make sure you get to see the end of it. And what is your Papa email? Is it Charlie at?
No, it's C McCon at papaonline.tv. I sent you an email on how to access that, Charlie.
Okay, then I'll check it out.
When I initially had welcomed you, I put in there that I got you a new email address and how to access it. If you have problems, come right to me. I can have it fixed within a minute.
Honestly, I may have read it, but we get so many emails. And also, I don't know how the city feels about any of the situation. Nathan was on vacation last week. So I haven't heard any response from anyone at the city at all. So yeah, I just kind of like to from my perspective first anyway.
I will get that as soon as this meeting's over. I will re-upload that to Facebook and send you the link.
Okay.
Or not to Facebook, to YouTube, and send you the link. And that should happen within an hour. I got pretty fast internet here.
No, that's great. Always two sides of every story. That's great. And when you get back in the office too, when all of us talk.
Yeah.
It's before I see, do I vote? Or I'm not really sure how that works.
Yes, sir.
It's a voting position.
It is a voting position?
Yes.
Okay. I want to make sure I understand the whole protocol. So is all of that in a bylaw somewhere on your site?
I sent you an email with the new bylaws.
Okay.
And so you can see that. I think it specifies that the representative seat on PA is a voting position. It's not always the case, but we happen to make it that one for this situation.
Yeah.
Okay, so do anything we're not supposed to. Just bear with me a couple of weeks to kind of get on track because all the different committees are already really difficult. So just please bear with me. Thank you.
I am there Monday through Friday, like I stated. You're more than welcome to stop in anytime. I don't know if you know how to get up there, if you've been there before, but we are the building between, or there's a walkway that goes between the Liberty Bell and the station, and there's a ramp that goes upstairs. That's where we're at.
Okay. I'd love to see that building inside. So.
Yeah, and I can even take you on a tour downstairs to show you what
Great.
we're trying to do. But yeah, honestly, day or night, I'm here to answer any questions you have.
I'm not going to waste everyone's time that night because it's early work. So thank you.
And we are trying to use Robert's Rules of Order as much as possible, and sometimes we do get off of that, but we try and use that. We do want, while this is professional, we do want to have a free-flowing conversation as well. So
I'm sure you've all seen some of the city council meetings on YouTube of cities and how wacky they get. So
Right.
hey, we're doing pretty good for all the meetings we have in town. I think they're all ran pretty well.
right. So okay, you'll send the link.
Yep.
And then Silas will send the audio.
I'm working on it right now. Yeah.
So then that'll allow you to kind of catch up on the conversation. And then you were in attendance at the city council meeting, right? That was on that
Yes.
one? Yes. So, okay. So feel free to listen to that and to watch the video.
Sure. And would you guys prefer to talk about it on record or one of the meetings, or is it okay for just a couple of us get together?
Hold on.
I don't want to get in the jam with that.
So we're treating this as a
Personnel
employee
issue.
personnel. Thank you. Personnel issue. So at the moment, we are treating this not disclosed to the public in terms of the actual conversation, but we will render the verdict.
Whatever resolution we have. Yeah.
I got you. Okay. Understood. Okay.
So, do you have any questions for us and from the limited knowledge regarding to the matter?
I really, it is pretty limited because, I just want to hear both sides, when you have some type of disagreement like this, and I have no clue what went on, so I'd rather just have an open mind, and if you guys have anything to say to defend anything that was said, that's fine, I'd love to hear it, but I wouldn't really understand it if I really listened to what Brandon had to say and listen to the meetings. So,
Right. And then,
you understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right.
and we wanted to make sure that you understood that we're not looking for any conflict or that make a big deal out of this. We just kind of want to resolve the matter in the same way as it was applied. And that's being since it's a relationship between Papa and the city, and as well since it was made public, we want to be able to correct once there's a resolution. If the resolution finds that the statements were inaccurate, that there is a public correction or reaction of those statements from public record. That's would be the ideal outcome. But take the time to go over the material, and then we'll discuss that further either in a special meeting or at the next board meeting.
Eric, that email address for Charlie is not working. Like his name, his first initial and his last name is not working.
It's probably because it's not set up yet.
Okay.
No, it was send it to his other email.
I'm not gonna.
I shot an email to your entire group this morning.
From your city email.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, this is not the city email is a public record request, and I think we need to keep it within POP for now.
All right, send it to my personal email.
Okay.
Let me text it to you on this real quick, okay?
Great, thank you.
On this message board right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's make sure he gets that information.
Right. I will absolutely get that info out to him tonight.
All right, you got that?
I did, thank you.
All right.
Okay. They'll make sure to get that out for you as soon as possible.
Oh, that's fine. I'm really good next month other than special meetings, correct?
Correct.
And we don't have any.
Obviously, second Tuesday, or second Tuesday, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
So it's in between your council meetings.
thank you.
And
We're short body Center meets on the last Tuesday, so sometimes it was interfered too. So.
okay, so with that, Silas, we added another topic, right, for new meeting?
Yeah, we did.
What was that?
How transparency related to minutes and agenda, and can we please find a way to post them on our website so people can access the agendas and the minutes for each of our meetings going forward?
So,
I'm going to create a new user specifically for that, and we'll get a Google Drive going, and then I'll just link them from the Google Drive.
and then
Great.
what about putting them on our website?
I will link them.
Yeah, it will be a.
So, but it won't stream from the website?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Okay.
We got it.
All right.
We're on board. We got this. Us techies got this.
Thank you.
All right. So does anyone have anything else to add to that, or questions or comments or anything? Okay. So we will move on to announcements for the good of the order. Does anyone have anything they wish to share?
I have something. I have a question for
Okay.
the answer to the good of the order. I know you're talking about doing something this summer about
Movies at
the movies at the park. I want to do something crazy to kind of get the community involved. I really want to, we've been working hard at getting our name back out there for over this past year before COVID kind of smothered it a little bit. And I really like to do something nice for the community. I don't know what yet. I'd like people to kind of ping pong some ideas around in their mind. I don't care. Maybe at the movies at the park, we throw a barbecue and throw hot dogs up there. Have some hot dogs and some movies or something cool that we can do. And I'm more than willing to volunteer to help out.
Mr. President,
Huh?
Mr. President,
Go ahead, Jeff.
remember, I have that hot dog cart.
You have a hot dog cart. You are amazing. We're going to talk.
We have that hot dog cart, so yes.
So see, like something like that, something big. And I want to, I'm also going to be working more once we get settled, because I still want to make sure we're on Roku and stuff first, working with the schools about getting, the kids to help out in lieu of community service. This is the actual announcement for the order, guys. Do you want to understand? Shauna found this out. It's amazing. Anybody that has student loans, send them our way, and here is why. The education, the Department of Education for the government has a form you can fill out if you work for a nonprofit group. Okay, that includes PAPA or any other nonprofit group. If you fill out that form, then every month they will post a $0 payment to your student loan account, but it's counted as up to date. If you work with that group for 10 years, which hopefully we can still be doing this within 10 years, they will wipe out your student debt completely. So $0 paid out of pocket. You're doing a community service by working for a nonprofit group. So in lieu of that, they post up that your student loans are paid, you are on time, and then they finally wipe it out. Not $1 out of pocket has to go. So anybody that's going through that or has student debt or something like that, send them my way. I can use all the volunteers I can get. That's it.
Does anyone else have any announcements for the good of the order? Okay, seeing none. So it is April 13th, 7:39 p.m. The meeting has officially come to close.
Thank you, guys.